Then he went on to speak a little bit about further incomings. And again, I agree with James Pearce on this, and it seems common sense. So he said on transfers, further incomings after Wirtz and Kirkes. See, when James Pearce is already saying after Wirtz and Kirkes, you know these deals are in the bag, would be heavily influenced by outgoings. And that makes sense. If you think about it, Liverpool are about to drop, let's say, 250 million euro on Wirtz, on Frim. No, that's a bit high, isn't it? On Wirtz, on Frimpong and Kirkes, it's about 220, 225 million euro. So it makes sense that maybe we'd want to bring in a few quid, especially before we go out there to get a striker. Going to have to make sure that we get the money we need for Darwin. Al-Hilal today, or excuse me, not Al-Hilal, Al-Nassr have made a big play today looking for Luis Diaz. They've been given the green light for central funding to make a bid to Liverpool for him. So let's wait and see what happens there. Sport Witness have said that Liverpool have made contact for an attacker in the last few hours, and that attacker, they say, is Rafa Leao of AC Milan. But again, I would say take that with a pinch of salt. A bid from Al-Nassr for Luis Diaz may be imminent, as they've received central funding approval to negotiate with the Premier League for an attacking option ahead of next season. Liverpool will demand a fee of about £72 million. Diaz is open to the idea of leaving this summer. That from Ben Jacobs. This from Ben Jacobs said, breaking, Al-Nassr set to approach Liverpool over Luis Diaz after receiving central approval to make a bid. Could be as high as 85 million euro. Why don't we ask for 100 million for Diaz if it's Saudi? I think 85 million euro, about 72 million pound, is already a very high fee for a player that's 28. I think it's a good fee personally, and I think Liverpool, if they want to move Diaz on, and look, I've always said I'm a fan of Lucho. I don't want him to go. If he goes, I respect the fact that it maybe he wanted to change in his career, but I just want the club to do the best business possible, and I think 85 million euro is a good fee for Luis Diaz. I don't think we'd have gotten that out of Barcelona, to be honest. Brap Attack said, disappointed, Craig. Don't know why the audience is so eager to see Diaz go. He's way better than Gordon Fofana. Don't forget what he did this season. So this kind of feels like I'm having to defend something that I never said, or how do I say this? I can't control the Diaz situation, nor can the chat. All we can do is react and give our opinion on it. And I've said really many times, my man, I'm disappointed that he's leaving. I like Diaz, and this has been his best season for us. But what I can't talk about is how the club look at it, or how Diaz can't look at it. And if he has itchy feet, maybe, and he wants to move away, then it's just a case of us getting the most money we can. What I think we can agree on is the links with Diaz moving away have been consistent for about a year now. And that's all I know about it. I don't think anyone's wishing him away, but what we do have to talk about is the potential replacements. And I can't really speak to Malik Fofana because I don't know all that much about him. But let's say Anthony Gordon, just to use your own example. I think with him, the club would have a few boxes ticked for the homegrown quota, the fact he's a Liverpool fan. And if you look at it from the perspective of age as well, you're improving the age profile of the team. So maybe Liverpool feel this is the peak time to get the maximum value for Luis Diaz, with the fact he also has 2 years to go on his deal. That's all I can think of, my man. But certainly, I don't know any Liverpool fans that would be wishing him away, really. And who would want to bring in if we lose Lucho? I know I'm kind of on my own here, but I do like the idea of Anthony Gordon. I really do. I can't really think of any other players. I mean, Nico Williams would be great. There's talk that he's going to sign the new deal, or at least they're trying to get him to sign the new deal at Bilbao that would have a higher release clause in it. So if somebody's going to make a play for him, this is probably the summer to make that move. It's difficult to say who I want, because usually who I want is linked with who I think's available and what I think's realistic. And outside of Anthony Gordon, there isn't really many names going through my head at the minute that I'm thinking about. Malik Fofana is an interesting one, but I would be an absolute liar if I told you he would be good enough or not good enough. I don't know, but I do trust the recruitment team. I do trust the data analysts, because if there's one thing we can say about Liverpool, we don't always make the moves that we want. But when we do make moves, particularly with Michael Edwards, with I was going to say Richard Hughes, but he's only been involved a short time. But Michael Edwards and the people that have come before him, the recruitment team has usually been spot on, and they don't really pull out many duds. Nicholas, Said, hey Craig, your thoughts on Barcola or Nico Williams as replacements if Diaz leaves? I also wouldn't say no to Anthony Gordon for the right fee. Is it just me that thinks Barcola has no end product? For me, I just see another Raheem Sterling, or somebody who undoubtedly has ability and pace, but I just don't think he has the killer instinct. For me, I would pass on Barcola personally. Anthony Gordon, my thoughts on him. And who was the other one you mentioned? Nico Williams, I love. Big fan of Nico Williams as a player. I love, I don't want to say arrogance, but the confidence that he carries. I like how he carries himself, but again, is that going to be the guy? I think we do need to keep an eye on the homegrown situation, and I think that may play a part in some of the signings we make this summer. So Frimpong, homegrown, he qualifies, but we're going to lose some. So we've just lost Kelleher, homegrown, he's going to go. Elliott, if he leaves, homegrown, another one gone. Kwanzaa, if he goes, that's another homegrown player gone. There's pros and cons of them, usually a much bigger profit margin on them. So, for instance, if we got 45 million for Harvey Elliott, that's pretty much 40 million quid profit on the books, probably even a little bit more than that. Kelleher, it's all profit because, of course, he came through as an academy system. So the 18 million all in there, including the add-ons, is all profit on Liverpool's balance sheet. And that will really help us with the secondary deals that we're going to do as this window moves on. Barcola scored 14 and assisted 10 in the league this season. I can only give you an opinion though, Scott, based off what I've seen, my man. I don't ever think, and I'm arrogant enough to think that my opinion's gospel, but when I've watched Barcola, he's just not convinced me. That's all. I can only be honest with you, my man. Malik Fofana, please. He's a diamond, said Stephanie Dupree's. Well, we know he'd love to play for Liverpool as well, Stephanie. He's let that be known publicly as well. He was linked. Liverpool feel that the asking price, according to the report, is a bit high and they'd like to try and knock it down a bit. But it will be interesting to see what does happen if Diaz moves on. And again, it does look like he's edging closer to the exit door. Surely we'd have to bring in a replacement, right? You couldn't not bring in somebody else because we think Wirtz is going to operate in the 10 role or maybe even the false 9 role. So, yeah, let's wait and see what happens. If Kwanzaa goes, surely that means we have to buy another centre-half. I also think Gordon would be too expensive. So, 100%. Like, for me right now, we need one centre-back, and that's before we lose anybody, Andrew. If we were to lose Kwanzaa, we need two, in my opinion. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one. And the Gordon deal, I guess I don't know the numbers involved in it, so I would be comfortable at 60, something like that, but I've no idea if Newcastle would command or demand a higher fee. Honestly, I haven't got a clue. Rio, I can't pronounce his surname, Red, so I'm just going to say Rio. Will he get more chances next season? Yes. I don't see alone in his future. I do think Liverpool want to nurture him from within. And it's about getting that balance of competitive games and making sure his progress isn't stunted. So, yeah, he's a special talent and we will see him this season, I think, maybe in Carabao Cup games, but who knows? If, let's say, an injury gives him an opportunity and he takes it, that's what football is about, isn't it? Taking your chances when they come, and there's no doubting what a talent young Rio is. You've seen how much Chelsea threw their toys out of the pram when we got him.